we may see nationwide riots and Trump declaring that martial law within the next 3 weeks. Let me cook. So, backstory a little bit. I think the timeline here is stepping up a lot. Here's why. Total Hypocrisy did a great video on Trump potentially being terminal health-wise, okay? What does that mean? Well, she basically says he's stepping up and how fast he does stuff, okay? So, this is why I think the timelines have changed. The Big Beautiful Bill was going to start kicking people off of SNAP benefits, 30.1 or 3.2 million people in January 2026, okay? That's a lot of people to not be able to get food. Now, potentially with Total Hypocrisy's video and things getting more intense, they're kicking right now, because of the government shutdown, in November, 41.7 million Americans, which is 12.3% of the population, they're not getting SNAP benefits on November 1. It's not happening. Now, hear me out. That is, and November 1st is a Saturday, okay? And then that means October 31st, Halloween, you're expecting, 41.7 million people are expecting, roughly, the states are a little different, money to hit their accounts. It's not going to be there, okay? And if that happens, when you're hungry, all bets are off. Survival is not a subscription. You shouldn't have to, if you can't afford something, you shouldn't die. And I see no moral issue at all with someone stealing food if they can't afford food. And I don't, that's just fucking humanity, right? Imagine what's going to happen, though. Again, I've never been in long-term food insecurity. I've had 2 experiences in my life where I was backpacking and I ran out of food for more than a day. And in that short time frame, I can tell you from my own personal experience, my perspectives on the world changed. And my morals and what I was willing to do changed when you don't have food, okay? Again, that's not long-term insecurity, and it's just my perspective, okay? So imagine this. If you have work on Monday and you know you have a little bit of food in the pantry, but you can't miss work because you need fucking money, right? Weekend is a great time to go out. If you're seeing people robbing the freaking grocery stores, supermarkets, and Walmarts and all that in this country, that weekend, I'm going to go out and get all my food too. If you see a lot of people running and stealing their shit, I'm going to go steal that shit too. So imagine this, okay? You have Halloween, 2 full days, and then the next week, and it's only going to get worse as the government shutdown goes on because people don't have money to buy food, right? You're going to have governors begging Trump to send in the National Guard. They're going to deploy the National Guard themselves, okay? That's not going to be enough because it's 12.3% of the population, okay? Then Trump's going to be like, okay, Insurrection Act. It's crazy. I need to deploy the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, the Navy, all of that, okay? You're not going to have a lot of pushback from the military on that. We have nationwide riots and the National Guard can't keep up, okay? So that's happening. And then, if it's not quelled and it's not slowed down, because it's only going to get worse with time, Trump goes and declares martial law. Martial law, I can do a whole other video on that, but that's a different can of worms. And the military wouldn't oppose that because you're seeing, and the governors probably wouldn't either, you're seeing nationwide protests, right? You're seeing grocery stores burn across this country. People will be freaking out. And because of that, I can see him declaring martial law. And if that happens, I'll do a video if you're curious. This may be Trump trying to get his agenda done now. And he'd be able to with that. Again, I hope that I'm wrong, y'all. I hope that I'm overreacting, but what do y'all think? Is this a high-level take, or am I freaking nuts?
Let's stop acting like people are just living off of food stamps because they fucking want to, okay? If people had enough money, $200, $300, $400 extra to spare for food, they probably wouldn't want to be on fucking food stamps. You guys are ignorant as fucking, it's pissing me the fuck off. We shouldn't have to take care of your kids. Bitch, that's why we pay taxes. We don't get shit else for free. So why the fuck can't our tax money go towards people who fucking need it? Food is not a fucking privilege. It's not a privilege to be able to eat. Bitch, you have to eat to survive. Don't piss me off, bro.
No food stamps in November for Thanksgiving is insane. And it has to be a direct attack.
I'm gonna tell y'all straight up like this. I just got that text that the link is definitely cut the fuck off for November. Y'all better stay the fuck out of my way in these stores. I'm walking out with carts and I'm not paying for shit. Before my kids go broke this bitch like Jack, I'm gonna be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow. I am going to go in that store, get everything I get regularly. I'm going to bag my shit up, swipe my link card, food that bitch say, ain't no pending balance on there. I'm going to walk the fuck Donald motherfucking Orange Man J Trump. I'm gonna tell you just like this. What the fuck you mean? Who ain't getting that goddamn food stamps in goddamn November? Cause I'm getting my goddamn shit. I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers, but I'm getting my shit. Cause I'm gonna tell you just like this on Jesus Lamar motherfucking Christ. I will be at motherfucking Walmart with my steel toes on and my motherfucking helmet, and I dare a bitch trying to stop me from walking out that mother.
Trump, it ain't nothing like niggas been knew how to steal. Please, niggas, I'll go steal a whole turkey, bitch, and a ham. What up? I don't know what the fuck wrong with Trump, but I don't know if he want war or not. But niggas is ready. Yo, the internet is not letting up. Y'all got me crying. I ain't gonna lie. It is damn, dang. Niggas don't give a fuck, right? But at the end of the day, it's you feel me? I'm mad, but I got food for me. I got food for days. If you know me, you already know how I give it up. Freezer go crazy. But at the end of the day, shit, I'll go buy it or I'll go steal it. It ain't nothing. I steal all that shit. Shit, anyway. Y'all ready for the looting? The fuck is going on? I'm in tune this time. I ain't missing this time. Shit, I'm outside.
With food stamps already being taken away, a Walmart already got fucking raided. And this is not going to be the first by taking away the EBT fucking food stamps, especially right before fucking Thanksgiving, right before the fucking holidays. And if they think the American people are going to be okay with it, you think the American people are going to go starving? Yeah, you got it all the way fucked up. Expect way more fucking riots at the grocery stores, at Walmart, at Target, wherever EBT is fucking accepted at, yeah. Because apparently the only place that is still getting EBT is New York City and California. But what about the rest of the fucking thousands of millions of fucking people who literally depend on fucking EBT for food? And I heard Aldi is doing a Thanksgiving feeding of 10 people for only $40 freaking. And I don't know how true it is, but you know what? If it is, I'm so motherfucking glad. Mind you, Aldi is not even an American brand. It's a European brand. They don't even celebrate Thanksgiving. Yeah. If people have no food during Christmas, have no food during Thanksgiving. They know exactly what they are doing. They want people to cause commotion. But these are just people who are fucking hungry. I'm telling y'all right now, this shit is not gonna end in a good fucking way. If y'all are gonna sit here and think that people of this fucking century is gonna sit home and starve while there's mad fucking grocery stores around them, yeah, you got it all the way fucked up.
Motherfuckers talk about they ain't giving up food stamps. Bitch, I just ran out the store. What, I'm about to with a whole, what? Y'all know I done ran out the store if that shit is bagged up. Come on now, just lying and shit. But that I'm premeditating. Bitch, I'm getting prepared. Bitch, yeah. For next month, my whole motherfucking Thanksgiving shit is gonna be pushed out. Bitch, I'ma YOLO that shit, bitch. YOLO, bitch. I'ma motherfucking get the motherfucking strength that day. Cause I be scared to steal. But bitch, I ain't gonna be scared that day. Bitch, I swear to God, bitch. I might start going up in that motherfucker, pushing that shit out and start doing like Thanksgiving packages. Come with a ham, a turkey, one come with the dressing, mac and cheese side, all that type of shit. Be on the lookout, bitch. For real.
I went from having $1,100 EBT every month, and that was just with 4 children, to 0. Now, how the fuck am I gonna feed my children? Was the first thing that came to my mind. Then my inner voice was like, girl, you've been feeding these children with or without food stamps before you got food stamps, so you can still do it. Like, I told y'all I was gonna take y'all to a food bank with me. When I tell y'all I just left a community event, I'm about to go to another one. I came home to take a break because, baby, it's hot out there. I told my children to Google some food banks that may be open or maybe open next week, you know, so I can take y'all with me. When I tell you they Googled it and they was taking me there, they was GPSing me, tell me why I pulled up at the food bank and with no food bank. So y'all gotta be careful with the GPS take y'all. Because I went to the food bank and it was nothing there but an abandoned building on the other side. But the pin where the food bank's supposed to be at, it looked like where Pennywise lived at. It wasn't a church. It wasn't a building. It wasn't a house. It was a tunnel with trees and stuff grew over it. I just knew I was about to bring me a box of food home today. But I promise you them children get a meal every night. Whether it's a lonely sandwich, some noodles. Y'all act like y'all know how to make scruggle meals. Do I need to start a series on how to make a scruggle meal? I think I'll do that. And no, because y'all stay tuned because I'm going to show y'all the event we went to earlier. And I'm going to show y'all the one we're going to tonight. And all I did was Google events that's going on in the state, today's date, and it popped up. They had a clothes drive, and they also had the trick or trunk. It was so hot out there. After they trick or trunk, I had to use the bathroom. The building was closed, so I didn't go to the damn, I can't even talk. I didn't go to the clothes drive. And when y'all go to the clothes drive, make sure y'all watch them clothes. It's just like Goodwill. Also, Salvation Army will give you vouchers for clothes if you need clothes. So check with your local Salvation Army. When I come back later, I will post all the Greenville, South Carolina resources because that's all I know. That's home for me. So if you're in Greenville, South Carolina and you need help, make sure you tune in tonight. Baby, I got a buku list of stuff. The Miracle Hill give you furniture for your house if you don't have it. They give you food. They give you clothes vouchers. There's no way anyone should be hungry or without anything with all the resources that's out here. Baby, we just got to find them and put their pride to the side. We all struggling. Everybody need help in some kind of way.
EBT. You know how many bitches I know that got like 9 kids and depend on that shit?
Cousins, did you get asked the same question all day? All day long, all I've been asked, did you see? Did you see? Did you see? Did you believe this is really happening? Apparently, the government shut down. Everybody been getting alerts with the EBT that there will be no funding in November. Do you not understand the riot that is fixing to cause? Do you not know all these people that thought it was a shutdown, that, oh, we're going to make these people listen to us, these people going to do what we say, Okay, you thought they were stealing in your stores. Wait till you take the stamps away. I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Achakodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS that give us his truth and all his purity. And salutations to all the occupation of this word throughout the four corners of the earth and sincerity and the truth. This is the brother Yabasap, and this topic is going into the famines. You know, famine is coming to America and all over the world. But it's going to hit America harder because here in America, people aren't used to going without. You know, this place is, America is a place of overindulgence. This is why majority of the people that's obese in the world is here in the Americas. Or not the Americas, but here in America itself. You know, because you go to those South American countries, you go to the Caribbean, you go to, West Africa, you go to them other countries, and, the people in those countries, it's rare for them to be fat, because the food they have doesn't have all the chemicals that they have over here, so they don't have all this bloating and inflammation, but here, the food has chemicals that make the food addictive. So, people are literally addicted to food. This is why you have shows like My 600-Pound Life, So, yeah, man, this place is going to get hit hard. So Trump cutting all those benefits, the food stamps, is going to result in famine, for more food shortages, because the people that aren't getting their food stamps anymore, they're going to go out and rob the grocery stores. They're going to loot, which will cause the grocery stores to increase prices and eventually, lock up the food, have security, police, military, at the food grocery stores. which pretty much that's going to be martial law, and once that happens, they're going to start having rationing and all kinds of stuff. But this is all biblical prophecy, you know, people, are losing their minds, not understanding how this is possible. How can they do this to us? And the government, how can they allow Trump to do this? Well, this prophecy, man. If you had listened to the prophets, this wouldn't surprise you, man. We've been saying this. The apostles of GMS. Look up the videos from 2007, 2008. They've been saying they was gonna cut off those benefits for you women, man, because it's prophecy, So this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." So this is Yahushua telling us about the signs of the end. Wars and rumors of wars. We see the war between Russia and Ukraine, which is getting ready to spill into, NATO. Excuse me. You got Finland, and I think Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Sweden? I know it's Finland and another country. I think it's Romania, in East Europe, that's going back and forth with Russia, over borders and territories, and all these NATO countries are getting for war with Russia. That's why France just told their citizens to prepare for mass casualty and to stock up on food and water. The UK, Croatia, Germany, all these European countries, they're telling their citizens that they're going to have a military draft. And you got protests all over Europe right now, And then over here in the West, you got, what's it called? You got America getting ready to go to war with Venezuela, and there's getting ready to be a civil war here in America, man, between the left and the right. So ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. You see that ye be not troubled. So when we hear all this news, it doesn't make us panic. It doesn't make us afraid, because we've been expecting this. For years, brothers have been, expecting for this very moment, man. Food shortages, the martial law, we right here, man. And it's surreal, seeing it all happen like literally in front of our eyes, man. But the scriptures say what? The vision would speak in the end. It wouldn't tarry. You will see it, pretty much. And we are seeing it, man. Right? So it says, see that ye be not troubled, because wisdom and knowledge is the stability of our times. So it says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what we see happening. So there will be more and more tensions between the nations as we get closer to the end. And it's going to result in world war, global conflict. It says, and there shall be famines. There you go. Famines. There's always famines whenever there's world wars. World War I and World War II, there was famines in different parts of the earth. But this time is going to be the worst, because now you have a system that everybody depends upon. At least back then, people had little farms. They could grow their own stuff. People knew about the land. But now, majority of people don't know shit about the land, So, people now, they all depend on the grocery stores. And the grocery stores depend on the truckers, The truckers depend on the farmers, right? It's a whole logistical chain that goes into the food being brought to the grocery stores, and people don't think about that. Now you have farmers, they're mourning due to the tariffs. The tariffs have crippled farmers, and they're losing their farms. Farmers are committing suicide. They're going bankrupt, and this is on top of the fact that immigration is taking away all the so-called Hispanics, the Mexicans, our people, the northern kingdom of Israel. They were the ones picking up, the crops and reaping the fields. But because of ICE now, they're no longer there. So this year there was no crops that were collected, or sown. A lot of crops wasn't sown. Look it up. It's in the news, So they're expecting for shortages, on top of the fact the food stamps got cut off. Hey, man, this is just a recipe for disaster, man. And this is what they want. The elites, they want all hell to break loose. They want people to lose their minds and go crazy and start looting and do all that stuff, because it'll justify them bringing martial law. And this is why Trump signed this executive order to implement martial law by April 1st, 2026. So between now and April, there's a lot of crimes and tensions that's going to take place leading to that, to, where eventually they're going to deploy the troops. But it doesn't mean that they're going to deploy them in April. They could deploy them in November or December. We know how Trump operates. This man is volatile. He doesn't, he's not really stable. He'll say one thing and then switch his mind. He'll give you a certain amount of time and then boom, cut it short. So, this thing is close, So it says there shall be famines and pestilences. So pandemics, there's going to be another pandemic very soon. They're about to lock the world down again, multiple pandemics, not just one. It says in earthquakes in diverse places or natural disasters. We see the earthquakes happening all over the world at unprecedented scales. If you type in earthquake right now, you'll see all the earthquakes that's happened in the past couple hours and days. And it'll probably be 7.6 magnitudes, of unprecedented scale, man. Earthquakes in diverse places and places that's known not to have earthquakes. It says all these are the beginning of sorrow. So this is only the beginning, People think they've seen it all already with Trump being in for less than a year. He's already done all of this. But hey, man, this nigga ain't even turned up yet. Hey, it's just like Dragon Ball Z, right? You got different levels. You got Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? Trump is just at level 1, base level. The nigga ain't even turned up yet. Wait till he reach, Super Saiyan God level, man, to where there's nothing but blood in these streets, man. Straight slaughter, man. The fierce king spoken about in Isaiah the 19th chapter. We believe that's Donald Trump, man. But that's it on that. Now let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 4, verse and let's see. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care. So the staff of bread represents your support, your food security. The Lord is breaking that apart. This is why Donald Trump is cutting the SNAP, right? SNAP got snapped. The benefits, the Section 8 is getting pulled. The health insurance, the pensions, all of that is being done away with, man. And Jake depend on these things. Jake, the poor, is the ones that depend on these things and get affected the most. So this is of the Lord, man. I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem right before Thanksgiving. The day that you niggas celebrate your enemies conquering your people, man, slaughtering your people. That's like celebrating slavery, talking about the tribe of Judah, the southern kingdom, they celebrate Thanksgiving, but then when you put it like that, it'll be like, oh, no, but it's just a time that families come together. And man, bullshit. You have a whole year to come together, but you choose to come together on that specific day. You want to celebrate paganism. That's just what it is. You want to be, like your oppressor, man. And this is why the Lord is judging you. This is why the Lord is taking away all your securities, man. I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care. So we're talking rationing. Food rationing is coming. There's not going to be enough for you to eat till you're full. You're going to go from however many meals people eat a day to half that or less. That's what this is going into. They shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. So your water is going to be rationed as well. All the water people get, they get it from the grocery store. They don't get it from their house. They don't have a well in their backyards. Most people don't. We don't, But we know Yahweh Shema Shah will provide for us, right? The reason these people are going to fall for this agenda is because they depend on the so-called white man for the one of all things. And when you depend on your enemy for the one of all things, he can easily incentivize you to do what he wants you to do because you depend on him. You're basically a slave to him, man. You're a slave on whoever you depend on. And now people depend on the system, man. And Esau is going to use that to his advantage to get them to fall for this mark of the beast, man. This RFID chip. So cut off the benefits. And then, when the economy collapses and everything, they'll come back with universal basic income and food rationing as long as you have your chip. You buy your chip. So that's how they're going to get people to fold, man. Right? But the famine is here, man. This holiday season is going to be a lot of mourning, man. Ain't going to be no Thanksgiving. That shit is over with, man. The Lord is breaking the staff of bread in Jerusalem. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 1, it says, "For behold, the Lord Yahweh Shemashah of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole state of bread and the whole state of water." So your whole food security is being done away with, man. Especially the black woman. She's the one that got most of these benefits in our community. The black and Hispanic woman. That's why you see they're the ones online crashing out about those food stamps, man. Talking about how they gonna loot, they gonna do this, they gonna do that. Well, go ahead. Go ahead, see what happens, man. Incriminating yourself online. Tell them what you about to do. Guess what? They're gonna have the troops ready to take your dumb ass, man. Got black women talking about, oh yeah, let motherfucker punch through your shit. What? You just a fucking woman. That's what they still don't realize, that they're still just women and they're not going to get their way. The government was the one that had them, having their way all these years. Now the government is breaking up with you, man. You don't have the same power you thought you had, man. It's over with. It's over with, man. Right? It says, the mighty men and the men of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient. And the Lord did that to us, man. Brought us to captivity, totally destroyed us as a people, But now, you have Jake, that so-called mighty man, the different athletes, the fighters, the dogs, the tough niggas in the hood. The Lord about to do away with all of them, man. Right? And let me jump down to verse. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna start at 16. Isaiah 3 and 16. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go and making a tinkling with their feet. That's the black woman, man. The average black woman, just proud look, looking down on a black man, talking all kinds of shit, walking with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, always, fucking lusting, being promiscuous, dressing provocative, twitching her hips. That's the black woman. It says, therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. So the Lord has made our women bald. This is why a woman, the black woman, can't grow hair. And the Lord will discover their secret parts. That's a curse, man. To just have our women, on display in front of the whole world, And eventually, the women now, they already, dressed like sluts, but how much more as times get rougher? They're all talking about how they're going to start selling pussy already, So it says, in that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet and their cords and their round tires like the moon. Yeah, so that's a curse. The Lord took away, our women's elite bodies. Now they're all fat, out of shape and all of that, But let me jump down to verse 25. It says, thy men shall fall by the sword and thy mighty in the war. So the men that you're with, the men you have available, right? You might have, a black woman with different baby fathers and she got a boyfriend now, 3 different baby fathers. Well, guess what? The Lord said they're going to die by the sword and thy mighty in the war. Because these niggas, they're going to die from the military draft. They're going to die in the Civil War. They're going to die in the martial law. They're going to die just being outside trying to go and get food for their families. It says, in her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit up on the ground. That's right. So once, the men get taken away, your protection, then that's it. You're going to be desolate, man. The Lord said for you women to rise up. This is Isaiah chapter 32, Oh, matter of fact, oh yeah, I'm gonna start at 2. It says, and a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind. Israelite men, a men of the Lord, is going to be as a hiding place from the wind. The wind represents all the chaos, all the destruction, all the plagues and calamities that's about to have a grip on Babylon the Great, and a covert from the tempest as rivers of water in a dry place, and as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So picture being in a desert and just stumbling on an oasis. That's how it's going to be when a woman finds a man of the Lord. You know, one in 8 billion chance. You know, it says, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land, give you rest from that sun. You cool off because things are about to be hot. It's going to be hot in these streets, man. It says, and the eyes of them that see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. So brothers could see the truth plainly. Our eyes are not dim. We could clearly see that we're in the end. This is why we've been waiting, however long we've been waiting, well, however many years, you know, because we saw the vision and now it's clear, right? So it says, I'm going to jump down to the point, verse 9. It says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. So women that are at ease. You can't tell me, you know, any place in the world where women are at ease and careless as much as here in America, man. The whole system backs them up. They could just lie on a man and say he assaulted them, and they won't even have to have evidence, and they'll lock the nigga up, destroy his whole life. You know? They have too many rights, too much privilege, man. The benefits is geared towards them. All these programs and benefits is all for them. It says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. So many days and years shall you be troubled. And when you look up in the NLT, it says days above a year. So ever since Trump took office, what's been happening? Millions of black women have lost their jobs, and now they're about to lose the benefits. So they're troubled. Days above a year. We could be here another year, you know? We could be here another 2 years, but we know time has sped up, so it's going to go fast. But it says, many days and years shall you be troubled, ye careless woman, for the vintage shall fail. The vintage represents your food security. Those benefits, the SNAP. The SNAP is failing. No more money for that. The gathering shall not come. So no more fucking going to clubs and all of that shit, man. Because, you know, those women that got those benefits, when you have the government paying for your food, that's a lot of money you have, spare money you have. So what do these women do? Single mothers and all that. They'll take the extra money and just go splurge on a fucking, club, go outside, buying fucking shit that's unnecessary, man. That's what these women do. Paying for makeup, nail, all that BS, man. You know? So the vintage shall fail. The gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. So tremble, man. Because in times of chaos and trouble, the ones that get affected the most are women, children, and the elderly. The Lord said, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. So strip you and make you bare. Now you're about to start selling it. You're about to start prostituting yourself, for some crumbs, some breadcrumbs, for some can of beans, for a can of fish, for whatever, man. That's how these women gonna give it up, man. For a sip of water, she gonna give you her waters, man. This is the times that we're coming into. Strip you and make you bare. Just like in Venezuela, back in, 2016, 15, 17, when their economy collapsed, you had women, lawyers, doctors, women high in society just resort to prostitution. So that's what's going to happen, man. These women going to start selling it. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. So that's what they're doing now. When they come online on TikTok, make these videos about losing their benefits, they're lamenting about those teats, right? Okay, that's it on that. What is it? Nations 34. Yep. Okay. This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 8. It says, their visage is blacker than a coal, speaking about the Jews. their visage, their appearance, visage also means face in French, visage, is blacker than a coal. So the Jews are dark skinned. It says they are not known in the streets. We're not acknowledged as being the Israelites. So it says their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. So this represents famine, and this is going to go into it, you know, but this is double fold too, because our people have been going through famine and, you know, drought spiritually, you know. That's why Ezekiel 37 speaks about the dry bones, you know, and over time the Lord will pour flesh and sinews upon them, and they will live and have the breath of life, which represents us and the knowledge, waking up to the fact that we're Israelites and having the understanding of these scriptures, which is the breath of life. So it says, their skin cleaveth to their bones, it is withered, it has become like a stick. So these niggas about to turn bony out here, man, from lack of food. Verse 9, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. So it's better for you to die by getting shot, getting stabbed, being beat by a baseball bat, getting jumped, getting hit by a train, getting hit by a car. It's better to die in these different ways than to die of hunger, because it says, for these pine away stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. So you're pining away. Your body start deteriorating. Your body start eating away at itself. It start eating that away at its muscles for caloric value. Start eating away eventually at your organs. Your organs start shutting down. No energy, you know? And you could starve for like a whole month. So it's better to just die quickly in a moment than to just have a prolonged death of suffering, man. And when you're going through famine, when people are going through starvation, and let's say you done went 2-3 weeks without food and you done lost all that weight, you can't just see food and just go eat food. Like you see that food and just go straight to eating. You'll die right away or right after. You know, it has to be a process of recovery. Like you got to get the fluids and eventually like soft foods and solids. This is a whole process. So you might have somebody that, you know, starving and they might stumble on some food and eat it and boom, drop dead. Right? So that's a terrible death to die of starvation. Verse 10, it says, the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. So you're going to have women out here actually cooking their kids, man. And it's no surprise. You see how the black women, you know, they already despise their children. They already despise having kids. Hell, majority of the abortions is done by so-called black women. And what do you think they do with those bodies of those babies? They put them shits in McDonald's, make some fucking profit out of those bodies, man. And, you know, she ends up eating her own kids, man. Going to McDonald's every day. You got black women that literally eat McDonald's every day, man. You know, fat and obese, out of shape, right? So it's going to be nothing for them to cook their own kids as long as they add the right seasoning. It says they were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So the Lord is about to destroy the daughter of Israel, man. You so-called black and Hispanic women. This is why he's cutting off the funding to your stamps, your SNAP, your benefits, you know. That's it on that. This is 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 25. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it, until an ass's head was sold for fourscore pieces of silver, and a fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So this is going into the history of the Lord bringing famine upon our people. You know, it says they got besieged, right? So right now what's happening now with Donald Trump and these troops and these different laws and legislations, it's a siege happening against the children of Israel, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It says until an ass's head was sold for 4 pieces of silver. So 80 pieces of silver. You do the math, you know, however much silver is worth now, you know, times that, it's a few $100s, you know. It's a few $100s for donkey head. Can you imagine that? People already losing their minds over beef being $80. So back then, picture they were paying hundreds of dollars for ass's head, right? So if an ass's head was sold for that much, how much did real food sell for? You know, even more. It says in the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So even shit was worth something because they just wanted to eat. That's the thing about starvation. When your body starves, it just needs to feel that hunger, man. You know, so they'll eat dirt, they'll eat grass or whatever for to try to get some nutritional value. It says, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the wine press? And shit, you know, brothers, Lord's will with those men, that's the mindset we're going to have. If you got a woman, you know, asking for some help, asking for some food, if the Lord don't help you, I can't help you, you know? It says, and the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her the next day, Give thy son that we may eat him. And she have hid her son. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. So these women, they made a deal to eat each other's sons. And, you know, one of them, betrayed the other. And when it was time to give up her son, she didn't want to give him up. You know, so you're gonna have those agreements going on again in these days. You know, oh yeah, we're gonna eat my son. We're gonna eat him for this week. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna plan on killing their babies, especially the ones with many kids. You know, they're gonna be selling their kids for food, man. Literally trafficking their children. You know, for cans of beans. That's how bad it's gonna get, man. All right. Sit on that. Now let's get this is Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. It says, And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. So the black horse represents famine. Like it says right here, the third seal, famine. It says, And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So when you look into it, that number, that amount is 10 times what it was worth in ancient times, right? So, you know, a measure of wheat for a penny in ancient times, that's 10 times too much. What the fuck? You upping the price. That's like you going to the grocery store and let's say a loaf of bread, let's say $4. You come back the next day, that should go up to $40. This is what this is going into. Inflation. Famines, food shortages lead to inflation. You know? And inflation leads to famine because people can't afford the food. So it just, everything all gonna come together for this famine, man. You know? Immigrants not picking the crops. The tariffs, you know? And, floods and droughts have been also fucking up the crops here in the Americas, you know? And, hyperinflation, man. Right? So that's what's getting ready to take place, man. They said November, next month, we could go to the grocery store and the price goes up, 20, 30%, however much, you know? Things are about to get bad, man. And you got people, talking about, well, I ain't a food stamp, so that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't gonna affect me. Like people, some people just don't think, man. You really think 40 million families are gonna just sit here and just starve? No, survival mode gonna kick in. So what's gonna happen? They're gonna commit crimes. They're gonna, do breaking and enterings. They're gonna loot the stores. They're gonna go to those wealthy neighborhoods and see what they could get. Hold on. 1611. There we go. 15. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua power. I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So this is all coming from the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his son Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua. They're the ones bringing these plagues upon the world. This is how you know of the God of the Bible. The scriptures say the Lord is known by the judgment which he executes. So those judgments is those plagues. Just like how the Egyptians, they ended up finding out who the Most High was through the plagues that he brought upon them. So this is how the citizens here of Babylon are going to find out the Most High, man. I will bring plagues upon the world, and not only on America, but the whole world. It says the sword. Sword is what? War. Civil wars, world wars. That's what's getting ready to take place. Famine, food shortages all over the world. Death and destruction. So massive death, man. Death and destruction. It's going to look post-apocalyptic out here, man. You know, ain't going to be no repairs when things get destroyed. If a drone attack hits New York City and those buildings get destroyed, they ain't going to get rebuilt. It's going to stay like that. You know, it says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, man. Why? Because the wicked is in rulership. The scriptures say when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases. And who's the wicked? Esau, Edom, pursuing to Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. And Job 9 and 24. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. So they're in power right now, and they polluted the whole earth through their philosophies, their democracy, you know, freedom, you know, for freedom, and freedom to do what? To do sin. That's what it is. That's what democracy is all about. That's why countries that become democratic, you look at how they used to be compared to now, they were more strict back then with how the women dressed, with certain acts, behaviors like homosexuality they were against. Now all over the world, people are openly declaring their wickedness, man, because of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, polluting their neighbors, the other nations, with their wines, their philosophies, man, and making them intoxicated, right? So it says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So it's about time. The hurtful works are fulfilled. Just like how in Genesis, the Lord told Abraham that his descendants, the Israelites, they will be in slavery for 400 years. And after the fourth generation, he's going to bring them to the land. And then he said, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. So meaning the point of wickedness they should reach before he brings judgment hadn't reached that point yet. So that shows you that there's a certain level of wickedness that has to take place before the Lord brings judgment, you know? So it says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness which they profanely commit. So now it's over. Once that wickedness reaches a certain level, a certain meter, the Lord is going to start, you know, opening the floodgates of destruction. Because right now the Lord is working. Don't get me wrong, but we ain't seen nothing yet, you know? It says, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Every day. That's what Moses is doing. You know, and the Lord hears our cries. Just like how in Exodus, it says the Lord heard the cries of the children of Israel. So right now, even if Jake not crying to the Most High, their souls are crying. The scriptures in Romans mention how basically our spirit grown utterings that cannot be uttered. So Jake right now, their spirits are mourning, you know, and plus, you know, they're getting oppressed more and more with ICE deporting the Northern Kingdom and, you know, the National Guard. Jake is just being crushed, you know, so the Lord hears our cries, man, and he's about to judge our enemies, the so-called white man. It says, and therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. So the Lord is getting ready to avenge his people, man, by the way of nuclear destruction of Babylon. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. And this is what we see happening. We're being led, the Israelites, 2/3 of our people, they're being led as a flock to the slaughter, man. You know, National Guard, all that being sent in your neighborhoods, Portland and Memphis, wherever Jake is at, that's where they're sending the troops, which shows you that we're the Israelites. Why is it the focus is on us when Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, those are the people you need to worry about deporting, but you want to come for us? That shows you that you know we're the children of Israel. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Yeah, the Lord ain't, you know, meant for us to be here in captivity forever, man. You know, captivity has an end. The Lord always saved us out of captivity in the past, man. And this is nothing new. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. Yahweh Shai is the mighty hand of the Lord. And the Lord, Yahweh Shai, he's going to work through miracles in these last days, man. You know, it says a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So just like how ancient Egypt was smitten with plagues, that was the mighty hand and the stretched out arm of the Most High. So this is the same way America's going to get smitten with unnatural, judgments, man. You know, the most wild things you could think of, doesn't do justice to what's about to happen, man. Imagine the Lord just rained boulders on cities, like shit like that. That's going to tell people, nah, this is the Lord. Just like how the Egyptians, when Moses and Aaron were doing their miracles, Pharaoh and his magi's were replicating certain of those miracles. And they got to the point where the Lord turned all the dust of Egypt into lice. And once the Lord did that, the Magi told Pharaoh, we can't do that, man. This is nothing but the finger of God. So that's the conclusion that these Edomites, these scientists, these higher ups, everybody's going to come to the conclusion that this is the works of the Most High. Plagues of different wild animals and, river turning to blood, just, things that's unheard of, man. Plague of darkness that may be felt. The Lord about to bring all of that. That's why it says that I will smite Egypt with plagues as before and will destroy all the land thereof. So ancient Egypt wasn't destroyed. So this is talking about this Egypt that we're living in now. And how's the Lord going to destroy it? By nuclear fire. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. So America is mourning right now. They're mourning. Everybody is on TikTok complaining about not being able to find a job, being laid off, the cost of living. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail and with a fearful constellation. And that's been happening. Floods and droughts in different parts of America, destroying crops, and even more so as we get closer to the end. There's already food shortages, but the food that's available, the farmers, they're going to keep it to themselves. They're going to try to hoard it. But guess what? The Lord going to destroy them crops. So they still going to end up dying by famine. It says, verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction drove nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And we see that. We see them prepping, to do that. Because now people having so-called peaceful protests and all of that. But once they don't got any food to eat, once they don't have any money in their banks, once they don't have any jobs, they don't have anything else to lose, they're going to take up arms and go fight against the government, man. One people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, civil wars. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, breaking and enterings, people breaking in each other's houses, looking for resources. Sedition among men, uprisings, different groups of people coming together, militias and all of that, right? It says, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. So they're not going to care what Trump or governor or mayor got to say. Matter of fact, they're going to go for their heads. They're going to be killing the mayors and those political leaders, man. It says, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're going to do whatever they want to do, man. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because of martial law. Military blockades, checkpoints, digital ID / biochip, RFID chip implant checkpoints, where if you have it, you could just go through. But if you don't have it, now you're getting checked. You're a potential domestic terrorist. You could be holding a concentration camp, right? It says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So this is all due to pride, man. The scriptures say pride bring forth destruction. So America has been the most proud. That's what the scriptures call Babylon the Great, the most proud, ruled by the proudest people. They think America think they're the only country in the world. That's why the rest of the world hate Americans, man. They only see themselves. And that's what the scriptures say Babylon would say about itself. I am and none else beside me, right? That's why when they have competitions, they have these sports, championship of the world. But nigga, this is only here in America, you know? That's why, people in America, they actually think the Super Bowl is bigger than the World Cup, which is insane, right? But anyways, it says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, men shall be afraid, So if the men are afraid, what are the women going to feel like? That just shows you how much fear the Lord is about to bring, man. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So men's is not going to care. They're not going to have that affection. They're not going to care about little babies, because they got their own babies to feed, No pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Yeah, taking the resources, man, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So famine is an actual spirit, man, sent to bring judgment. It actually changes people's nature, man. People turn to fucking animals, man, when they're starving. This is it 38? No, it's 39. This is Sirach chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. So this is all for judgment, man. You're going to have wildfires. You already have them now, but like people are going to experience all these things on a personal level. Wildfires, a whole neighborhood catch on fire because of a drone attack or somebody, an arsonist, fire and hail. We're going to have hail, hail the size of fucking boulders dropping on people. We already have record size hail all over the earth, the size of tennis balls being recorded and shit. So the Lord is going to intensify that. And famine. Yeah, famine, man. Starvation. That's an actual spirit. It put demons on people, man. People turn to straight cannibals. It literally puts spirits on you, man. Because when you're starving, you're at your weakest. Just like when you fast. Example, Yahweh Shai, when he was fasting for 40 days, that's when he was at his weakest and Satan came to tempt him. So these people, they're already weak through the flesh. So when the flesh now is deprived of the food, now they're open to even more demons. They're going to turn straight cannibals, murderers, and all kinds of shit. Child trafficking, human trafficking for meat consumption. This is what we're getting ready to witness, man. It says, in death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, and the scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. That's right. So we're going to have wild animals, lions, bears, tigers, all kinds of wild, ferocious beasts, dogs. Hey, famine is a spirit, right? Dogs themselves, they're going to fucking turn up too. All animals, man, that's starving. Even the rats, when they don't get food to eat, they're going to fucking start munching people alive, man. Dogs going to be mauling their own owners, eating them up. Packs of dogs. And yo, it's about to get crazy, man. In a movie, or not in a movie, in a show, I think it's called, what was it called? Damn, it was just in my mind. Zoo. I think it's called Zoo. In the show, they show you that basically the Lord put spirits on animals and the animals all over the world started attacking people. And the people had to shelter and all of that, But the Lord's about to do that. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions and serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth. So they're ready right now, right? When need is. So there is need for judgment. So therefore they're ready. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So this is why it's not stopping. The plagues are sent and shall not return, man. It says, therefore, from the beginning, I was resolved and thought upon these things and have left them in writing. Yeah, man. So, you know, Yahweh Shem Shah is bringing judgments, man. And famine is one of the main judgments the Lord is going to bring. That's what's going to humble people, man. You know, that's going to be a sit down, timeout, you know, what do they call it? In prison, solitary confinement time where the Lord is going to sit Jake ass down while they're starving, and they're going to think about all the wickedness and the wicked shit they done did and how they should have listened to the prophets, man. Matter of fact, we can end off with Amos. Let's get that. Amos chapter 8, verse 11. It says, matter of fact, Amos chapter 8, verse 10. It says, and I will turn your feasts into mourning. That's what's happening. No more Thanksgiving. Your Thanksgiving is going to be mourning, man. And all your songs into lamentation. So, you know, going to church on a Sunday ain't going to be so happy no more. You know, ain't going to be no getting that, you know, pork, you know, after the service and, you know, eating good and all that. Oh, happy day. Ain't going to be no happy day, man. Right? The song's going to turn to lamentations. Crying, wailing. Baby's dead. Husband dead. You know, whole family's wiped out. Just one person of family left. Like, this is going to be the norm. It says, and I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins and baldness upon every head, which represents mourning for the dead. And I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Imagine having an only child and losing that, right? That's the feeling people's going to have, like, from losing everything they've had, you know? It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh Shemeshah power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. But this is what's going to bring the famine of hearing the words of the Lord, is an actual famine and thirst for water. Because when these things aren't available, people start to realize how important the Most High is. That's when they start to appreciate the Most High and start thinking about him. When they're in abundance, they don't think about the Most High. When they're putting that, you know, food in their mouth, they're not praying to the Most High before they do things like that, you know? So it says, hold on. Yep, it says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will send a famine of bread, not a famine of bread, nor thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So it's going to be a scarce thing, you know? Right now it's readily available. You can go on YouTube, look up the videos, you know? But it's going to come upon a time where the channels ain't going to be available. Brother's channels already start getting clipped. The brother in Vegas, his channel got clipped. The elder brother here, Sakar, his channel got clipped, and other brothers, you know? So they're wiping the internet clean, you know? And soon as there's a cyber attack, you know, where they shut the internet down and turn it back on, you know, it's going to be a whole new thing. Digital ID access required, you know, because right now in England and the UK, they're already doing that with the internet, purging YouTube channels, purging websites, you know, or requiring digital IDs to access the internet. This is what they're going they're going towards, and America's going to follow the same footsteps. So it says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, and shall not find it. So you're going to have people literally going in places where brothers usually camp, you know, trying to get the word, or people that might have known brothers in the world, going to brothers' houses, looking for brothers, going to brothers' job sites, you know, trying to find the vicinities, you know. Or maybe you live in a neighborhood. Maybe if I go knock on some doors, maybe I'll find them. And, you know, wander from sea to sea, from the north even to the east, to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. Verse 13, and that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. Faint for thirst of what? Thirst of wisdom, you know, of knowledge and understanding, you know, because there's going to be no answer in that day, you know. The only answer is going to be Yahweh Shem Shah. And the scriptures say, our people have a zeal of the Most High, you know, and they do by nature the things that are contained in the law. So basically our people naturally, you know, they're going to know, you know, the judgments of the Most High. They're going to know this is the Most High doing this. And the back of their mind, they know, because they're Israelites. They're still sons of God, right? What is it? It's Isaiah 61. About my servant shall eat. Let me just type that in. Oh, 65. Slack it. Isaiah 65. Isaiah chapter 65. This is Isaiah chapter 65, verse 12. It says, therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. That's 2/3 of our people. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. That's what the scriptures say, right? So the Lord is gonna have our people getting slaughtered, man. This is why ICE done bought missiles and drones over $700 million. Why would ICE need missiles? What do you think they're gonna do with those? They're gonna drop it on our people's neighborhoods, on the hood. They're gonna start sending missiles on the hood, man. And it's not far fetched because back in, I think it was the 70s, in Philly, the cops, they dropped bombs on a Philadelphia neighborhood, man, burnt the whole neighborhood. So this devil ain't changed, man. You got our people always talking about, oh, what's happening, man? This is 2025. Shouldn't be no race. Like as if it ever went away. As if the so-called white men ever changed. That's a problem with you niggas, man. You've been too comfortable in Babylon, man. And the Lord is showing your ass. He's waking you up. Showing you still a nigga to this devil, man. That old hatred is always going to exist, man. It's never going to be black and white love and unity. Get the fuck out of here, man. Jacob and Esau will never unite. All right? It says, Isaiah chapter 65, verse 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, you did not answer. The Lord is calling right now through the prophets, and you're not answering. You refuse to repent. When I spake, you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. So you still kept on sinning, kept on following your own ways, doing your own thing. You don't want to repent. You don't want to return to your heritage. You want to still celebrate these pagan holidays. You want to follow the so-called white man. You want to be a Christian. You want to be a Muslim. Hey, even Israelites that know they're Israelites, still, they wear the fringes and all that, but it's still, their mind is not right. They're always feasting, and there's adultery going on in their congregations. They're not calling on Yahweh Bashim Shah in truth. They're not teaching the prophecies in truth, the mark of the beast, right? So the Lord is going to deliver them to the slaughter, man. It says, verse 13, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah power, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. So brothers are going to eat, man. Brothers are going to eat. The Lord is going to make sure we're fed, man. So whether it be through, people in the world, because the Lord, he could do that. He could have somebody random in the world to give you food, or whether it be, through an angel, or whether it be even through animals, just like with Elijah. Elijah, when there was the 3 years of famine, the Lord fed him every morning and every evening. He had a bird bring him a piece of flesh, and he also had a brook of water that he was able to drink from till it dried up for 3 years, man. So it's nothing to the Lord, man. Nobody knew about that brook of water but him. You see what I'm saying? So the Lord, he could have it to where nobody knows that in a certain neighborhood, these houses right here got food in them but you. The Lord is going to have, brothers hidden, man, in the midst of these people, man. My servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. So the Lord's servants, they're going to rejoice, man. The Lord said he's going to mock at your calamity. He's going to laugh when your fear cometh, right? And the Lord is going to do that through his servants. So while brothers is eating, we're going to laugh at your death, man. We're going to see our people bony, all starving on the road, on the side of the street, while brothers flesh is going to still look full. Like, damn, this nigga still got fat on him? You still making weight? Like, how is it you not, you got food, right? This is how a lot of people going to be able to tell that the Lord is dealing with brothers, man. Because brothers going to have that glow. They're going to, they're not going to be too affected by the things that's happening around them. The scriptures say 1,000 gonna fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it's not gonna come near us. So the Lord is gonna have a hedge around us, you know, like a bubble where brothers is shielded from all these calamities, man. It says, and ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for the Lord power shall slay thee and call his servants by another name. That's why we call you the 2/3. You the curse, right? Yeah, but that's pretty much it on that, man. So with that, I'm gonna close out and give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS that give us his truth, and salutations to all you Akim pushing this word. Shalom.